Well, I think a student should apply to CAPIC if they're looking for a high-quality training experience within the state of California. California, as you know, is an extremely diverse community, and we are a statewide organization of which most of our constituency of training sites are community mental health centers, dealing with communities that are underserved and underrepresented, and having a wide variety of populations that are much in need of mental health service. We have students, of course, within California at a myriad of different academic institutions, many of whom want to stay in the communities in which they're currently residing, in which they may have resided prior to even applying for their doctorate program, and want to give back to that community. And others that, even though they may have come from out of state or other regions, have become active and involved in the communities in which they're living, or in other areas adjacent, and want to work within those communities. In addition, it provides a unique experience of working in community mental health proper, and specialty populations that typically are not seen at larger institutions such as the VA or standard hospitals. You're really working within the neighborhood at the ground level many times, and that's unique and very rewarding.
So are those some of the main benefits, or are there additional benefits?
There are many additional benefits. You know, in today's time, more than maybe in decades past, students incur educational loans that need to be paid rather quickly, and stipends are a modicum of income. They're a way of garnering some income during that one training year, but never really enough to address the cost of living involved in going for an internship. So when students have to apply at a national level and receive when they receive an offer of an internship out of state, they have to pull up their roots and literally move themselves, and if they have a family, move their whole family across state for that 1 year, or leave their family behind to go for that 1 year. Now, what often happens is the stipend itself and or the costs involved in moving or leaving the family is a financial crisis and or hardship. In addition, there's social and familial impact by them not being there for that 1 year, or the move of family for that 1 year and disrupting everyone's lifestyle. So that's a concern. It also disjoints them from other social supports they may have. So keeping it local, keeping it connected to the community, and where training opportunities are homegrown around where the need is and where the interns are, with meaningful and high quality training opportunities makes sense.
Other than geographic and vehicle, are there other benefits to CAPIC? Is it something that the highly recognized name, it's a line item on a resume, things on that much more concern, or that much more success?
Well, California Psychology Internship Council was founded in 1991, so it has a substantial 25-year history of being known throughout the state of California, certainly, but for many years, for at least 20 years, if not longer, those 25, known throughout the country for what it's done. It is seen as innovative, as very grassroots, as advocacy-driven for mental health care and for quality mental health training for doctoral level students, so it has a good reputation. The Board of Psychology within California long ago recognized CAPIC as an acceptable and appropriate means for garnering those pre-doctoral training hours. And so CAPIC itself is written within the regulations of the state, within the Board of Psychology. In addition, we have not run across any state that has not accepted CAPIC internship training hours. If it's happened, it would be unbeknownst to us. And there are states that have actually talked about writing us into their bylaws, and I heard that there's at least 1 or 2 states that already have, not bylaws, but the regulations. So to answer the question of whether we have kind of the gravitas in terms of being known as an institution, yes, absolutely we have. And I've trained hundreds of students over the years in a training site situation as a director of a training site, which was CAPIC, and I've had students contact me over the years with wonderful positions all over the state and over the country, and very much enjoying the experience that they had at CAPIC internship. And although the one I started and developed and is still ongoing is a wonderful training site, it is not isolative. It is emblematic of the type and the quality with the breadth and the depth of training that you typically see at a CAPIC site. So I think CAPIC now really rests on its merits that have continued over time. Quality training, wonderful supervision, wonderful didactic training, emphasis on diversity element within their training, the whole enchilada, so to speak.
You're a fabulous interview, by the way.
Thank you.
Really need to.
Thank you so much.
Last question. You're obviously very involved with it. What's been your experience, not just as a board member, but also as a participant?
Mm-hmm. Well, as a participant member, meaning that although I did not have a CAPIC internship, I came from another state. And there was no CAPIC, although that would have been wonderful at the time. But as a director of a clinical training site, and as someone that worked with students as a training director at academic institutions over the years, I've had that experience on both ends of helping the student at the academic institution, those students procure internships, specifically CAPIC, as well as others, and being at a site where we vetted CAPIC applicants because we're a CAPIC internship site. What I was struck by over time is the level of commitment students coming to CAPIC sites have. Many of them saying they were not interested in other kinds of sites, that they truly had a passion and a deep interest in working in community mental health with target populations of high need, that they wanted to work in underserved and underrepresented populations. I remember one student I had where when she first came to the internship, she was kind of, gee, this is difficult, you know, the clients we're seeing are very impacted and wondering whether this was a good fit. And shortly after being there and seeing the quality and the depth of the training and the experience, and after starting to work with the population, which were people impacted by trauma, psychological trauma, she came back to my office and she says, I just want you to know, Dr. Schaefer, I have the passion. I now have the passion. She says, this is where the work is. And in that moment, hearing that, I thought, that is a wonderful moment. That's a CAPIC moment. Because students, you know, they enter this field, they haven't had the experience yet of being on internship. They're not sure what resides on the other side of the door. But in seeing time and time again, students go through the experience and having a CAPIC opportunity and seeing what comes from that and how impassioned they become and how they get so excited because of what they learn that they want to work in that community and with that population, that they're actually carving out their career path. That's inspiring to me. I think that's wonderful. You're welcome. Thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure being part of the California Psychology Internship Council. I've done a lot of board work. I've been in the field close to 40 years now. Maybe it is 40. I'm at the age where, I don't add up the numbers anymore. But of all the boards I've been on and all the organizations I've been a part of, I have to say, with CAPIC, you have a dedicated and very passionate group of people involved that really believe in what CAPIC stands for its mission and for its vision, and the importance of what we do. So for me, it's been a treat, professionally speaking and personally speaking. Thank you.
I am currently enrolled at Pacifica Graduate Institute. I'm a doctoral candidate, which means that I just completed my coursework, finished my practicum, and now I'm currently in my internship at the Institute of San Francisco,
And what's your role at CAPIC?
What is my role at CAPIC? I'm the student representative.
So, from your perspective as a student, why should a student apply to CAPIC? What made you apply?
That's a good question because, first of all, before I decided to apply for CAPIC, I came from a different culture. So I really had to do research. With fresh eyes, I looked at APIC, I looked at CAPIC to understand, first of all, what is the difference. And because I already knew what kind of training I am seeking for, I had a set of criteria. And one is a training that is psychodynamically oriented, that is focused in clinical practice, that gives me the possibility of having psychoanalytical training, and that the environment is not that fast-paced sort of treatment. And I found in CAPIC more options. Actually, the quality of the professionals. So one of the advantages of not knowing the culture is that you look, the tendency is to look, oh, this is something completely new. So I started doing research. And I learned a lot during this research that the options that CAPIC was offering was in alignment with what I wanted. There's another aspect is that I didn't want to relocate. So the possibility of staying in the Bay Area because I wanted to be close to my family. And I decided to move to the Bay Area because I like this sort of culture. And CAPIC is actually offering the possibility of working with the population that I'm interested in working with and living among these people. So I live among these people. So I want to work with people that I feel that I accommodate well in the culture, the culture of the Bay Area is very specific in the U.S., right? So CAPIC is giving me this option, this possibility. So I chose CAPIC because it really is in alignment with what I'm looking for in my career.
Okay. So what are the benefits to applying for CAPIC besides the geographic and working with the population that you chose to work with? Are there other benefits that you found in working with CAPIC?
Well, the benefits besides being able to stay where I live is that the population is very diverse. So we work with underserved population, right? So as a graduate student, I'm offering mental health service to population in need. So that comes in alignment also with my spirit of advocacy, which I carry with me. And at the same time receiving a lot of very good training, the quality of training, and the tendency for what I observed is that it's less pressured, smaller groups. So there is a special attention with the interns. In terms of supervision, in terms of the trainings. It's a culture with, it's less pressured. That's what I felt in my research and what I'm actually experiencing. Experiencing my practicum and now as an intern at the Jung Institute as well. Yeah.
So you've sort of answered the question already, but what is your experience with CAPIC? Not necessarily dealing with the geographics, but the culture of CAPIC itself.
So what I notice is that CAPIC, the professionals that are members, the sites are members of CAPIC, they're interested in quality training. So I, as an intern, I've been receiving the benefits of this culture that CAPIC is promoting, this standard of quality, right? In the sites that I'm now, for example, I have the opportunity for long-term treatment. So it's a 2-year part-time internship. I have the possibility of working long-term with these clients. And that gives me the opportunity of having in-depth work with them. So I really can, it makes a difference when you can stay with the client longer. Without, crisis, working with crisis is important too, but being able to work with the client longer, there is a possibility of being trained, following a case for longer, and seeing the nuances and really learning, because this is a stage that, as an intern, all I want to do is really learn, so I can become a better professional. So there is a lot of attention in the clinical practice, and again, the population.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to say?
Well, from my understanding is that CAPIC is looking for diversity. The population that we were working with, the clients, and also the therapists from other cultures. So there is this, CAPIC is looking for diversity, and I think this is very important, looking at both sides. Therapists are from different cultures, and also the population, which in the Bay Area is very diverse, for example, where I work. So I think this is a very important issue. We're in a multicultural society, so it's important to have a special look at this.
And CAPIC helped develop your cultural understanding and language and dealing with different cultures?
Yes, because I am able.
Rephrase that to say yes, CAPIC helped me.
Yeah, CAPIC has helped me reinforce my belief in working with diversity, how important it is. As a therapist that speak other languages, I'm having an opportunity to work with other clients using my native language and using other languages that I know as well. And so meeting the client with their native language, and at the same time the client has the opportunity to bring into therapy the issue of the adaptation. So a lot of immigrants, they experience the trauma of immigration, the stress of adaptation, and I feel that CAPIC sites, because there is an opening for diversity, there is room for that. There was room for the encounter of a therapist from a different culture, from the client, so different perspectives. What does that mean? What sort of dialogue does this open? So it was a conscious choice for me to go choose CAPIC. I had the option of going APIC because I have some skills. For example, I speak several languages, and this is needed. But the best training that I found for what I'm looking for, what sort of training I'm looking for, was really with CAPIC. So that's what I have to offer, and I'm happy with what I'm learning so far.
I'm a clinical psychologist, and I work for a nonprofit agency called the Asian Americans for Community Involvement, where I'm the Director of Clinical and Regulatory Affairs.
And what's your role with CAPIC?
My role with CAPIC is I'm on the board. I've served many different positions on the board, and I represent the Northern California internship site.
So were they talking about why students should apply to CAPIC? Why should students apply?
Why should students apply to CAPIC? I think if you really think about a graduate education, it's quite, it takes a long time, as well as it's quite expensive. Oftentimes people develop training sites and relationships in places near their school, near where they live, and oftentimes people want to work with a population that they're familiar with. I think when they apply the CAPIC internship, and if the students understand not only the political nature of the work that they do, also the resources, they also know that community, and sometimes it could be an ethnic and linguistic minority community that they really are well fit into working. It could also be a agency or a passionate site that they actually want to do work and also look forward to working once they graduate from their school. So I think it not only allows them to stay within the neighborhood and the culture and the group that they want to work with, but it also keeps them tied very closely to their school. Many students don't quite finish their dissertation when they do an internship. And I think having the additional support of the school somewhere around, say, even a 50-mile radius is actually very useful for them to get motivated and stay focused on their academic and also clinical training. It also saves them a lot of money. They don't have to uproot and take all their, for 1 year or sometimes even 2 years, if they get a two-year half-time internship at APA, which are very few of them, but there are some, and that actually allows you to stay within your family. And understanding also that the gender demographics of the psychologists in training are changing. There's a lot of women with children and family who cannot uproot. There's also men that actually are working full-time because graduate school is quite expensive. So in essence, you can possibly keep some of your working ability to make some money, not disrupt your family life, not disrupt your social support, because internship, if you were to go to a brand new place, it's quite challenging. It's quite jarring oftentimes. If you actually end up in a geographic area where you are the sole minority person, I think that is quite a huge acculturation shock. So.
So what are the benefits to applying to the size that you've already mentioned?
Benefits for applying to CAPIC, again, financially is quite reasonable. I think if you stay locally and you don't have to travel as much, I think some students spend even $7,000 to $10,000 on airfare and hotels during the time that they actually go interview throughout the whole country. And sometimes you only are looking for one site, and sometimes the sites will not be as good as the ones that you actually know locally. Applying to CAPIC internship also helps the students develop relationships, and through relationships you actually get employment. Sometimes even sites that don't necessarily have formal postdoctoral training, they'll hire students who have graduated from there, who've trained there for at least a year or so, to actually continue doing the work that they do, contribute to the organization, get their supervised professional experience for their postdoctoral hours, and they can actually get licensed and help develop the whole program. So I think there's a huge benefit in actually staying within the community that you want to work with, because like anything else in life, it's about relationships. If you don't develop a relationship with the people that you want to work with the community, within the system that you want to work with, it's quite challenging to kind of come in. Because even if you were to go on a doctoral internship somewhere else outside of your state or your local community, you may have to also find a postdoctoral fellowship somewhere else, and it could be in a whole different state. So having to only work one state 1 year at a time, you really do not develop those ties that really may lead you into your professional career or your career ladder to something much bigger than what you could have actually developed if you were to stay locally and maintain that relationship and continue developing and looking for opportunities professionally to grow, and even sometimes even go back to the school and kind of help mentor some other students. So I think there's a lot of benefits for not only students, the clinical training sites, but also having the students who are all internship will come back to the academic institution and kind of give back and help some of the upcoming students in regards to what to expect, and they could serve as pseudo mentors to a lot of the students applying for internships. So there's on multiple levels, there's benefits for someone to stay here.
So what is your experience been with CAPIC?
Interesting you asked. My experience with CAPIC, we wanted to really, I work in an agency where there's a lot of master's trainees and students, and I felt that there was a need to actually increase the quality of clinical services given to the population. I work in an agency that we serve various ethnic and culturally and linguistically limited populations. As a matter of fact, our behavioral health department speaks about 3,000 languages. In agency-wide, we speak over 40 different languages. So you must think, what is the challenge of getting bilingual and bicultural individuals who are really good trained clinically to address people with severe and chronic mental illness or individuals who don't speak the language and have difficulty understanding that mental health services are really part of the healthcare continuum. So my idea to develop an internship program that was at least overseen or in regards to training quality and also train individuals was to start a CAPIC internship with the help of my colleagues. So we started a CAPIC internship several years ago where we actually have continuously gotten students who are interested in working with a diverse type of clinical service lines that we have, as well as the population. And not only do they get enriched clinically, not only in regular service delivery, but also in bilingual and bicultural service delivery, how to adapt, so what we call evidence-based practices with the population that oftentimes doesn't quite understand English. I think the opportunities that they also have once you actually are able to screen them for one whole year, and we think that they're a good match for potential positions in our agency within the programs that they've actually worked. We've actually hired individuals in. As a matter of fact, we have several people who've hired after their internship where they actually are able to complete their postdoctoral hours requirements. They get paid as a staff, and they get to stay home and develop the whole social support and familiar kind of systems up, so, and ongoing mentoring. So there's a win-win situation. I think that the fact that CAPIC students are local within the state and sometimes regionally even closer to us, we actually get to develop a really good, close relationship with the academic institutions where they come actually do site visits. At least the CAPIC folks come and do site visits to the site once every, used to be once every 3 years, now we limit it to once every 5 years to ensure that the interns are getting exactly what the training site has promised. So there's a lot of benefits of actually becoming a CAPIC internship. You get oversight by CAPIC itself. The academic institution is nearby. It's not really even in a different time zone. And if you find a really good candidate, you can end up hiring that person as a potential, not only staff, but also supervisor, which we have actually done in our experience, I would say.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
I think one of the really unique aspects about CAPIC is it really looks at how California's mental health system is changing. A lot of our sites are really multicultural, multiculturally focused. They're very community-based, and actually really use a lot of the applications and apply to challenging populations, what I usually call the real world, not necessarily the very controlled research study world where a lot of people get filtered out because they don't meet the criteria. And I think allows individuals to develop roots, professional roots in the community that they're at, and a lot of the community members see them growing professionally, and that can also allow for potential leadership. And in essence, they can actually give not only professionally back to the community, but also in regards to leadership, mentoring, role modeling for a lot of individuals who may not necessarily have the money to really go outside, and they cannot leave their family, because a lot of the ethnic minority graduate students in psychology like to stay and support the family and work with the population and the culture that they actually know. The thing in itself is a really rich way of maintaining multicultural competencies in clinical services, and it really addresses really the need of the California demographics. And as we know, diversity is changing, and a lot of the stuff that we actually do, that we learn at schools, the evidence-based models, oftentimes are developed in a very small segment of the population that really doesn't address, I would say, like the 95% of the population that is coming in into California. So I think that's one of the great things about CAPIC, and I'm very proud to be on the board and helping to have CAPIC training clinical psychology students in the cutting edge of psychology. So, no, I think it's a good organization. It's a grassroots organization, and you can ask for more. It's almost like the little train that could, and we've actually shown for the last 25 years. As a matter of fact, next year, 2016, is our 25th anniversary, and we are actually celebrating some of the accomplishment and also looking forward as to how to develop in regards to how psychology in the healthcare field, and especially the multicultural and diverse field of psychology, is developing. So, pretty excited about that.
My role with CAPIC is I'm the office administrator, so I am what they call the face of CAPIC. I am the front end. When you call or email, 90% of the time you are contacting me.
So you know everybody and where all skeletons are buried.
I know just about everybody and where most of the skeletons are buried.
So when I'm a student and I call up and I'm like, Jessica, why do I want to apply to this?
When a student calls the office and asks why should they apply to CAPIC, my first response is because CAPIC is a great option to APA or APIC site. We're not an alternative. I think the misconception is that if you can't get an APA or APIC site, that then you need to go to CAPIC. That is totally false. That is a myth. I think that if you want to stay in California and you want a good training experience for yourself, CAPIC is definitely the option to go. We have highly qualified programs, whether it's internship or postdoctoral. It is an option. It is not an alternative.
So what are the main benefits of that?
The main benefits of that option is you're able to, well, for one, we offer not only full-time positions, but we have half-time 1 years and half-time 2 years. So it gives you that flexibility for that working person in California.
And are there multiple sites throughout the state?
Oh, we cover northern, southern, and so California. So there are currently over 100 sites, and that's including internships and postdocs.
Do those sites have different demographics that would be interested in your students?
The sites have multiple demographics, whether you are a working mother, a single parent, whether you're married, you have a part-time job or a full-time job. It touches just about any demographics that you're interested in.
What's your experience with CAPIC?
I have been with CAPIC for a little over 2 years, and again, as I said, I'm the office administrator, and I've seen so many success stories. I've had students call me, thanking me for talking them through the match process, thanking CAPIC for the wonderful training opportunities that they have endured during their internships and their postdocs.
So if I apply, what's my experience?
If you're applying for CAPIC for internship, we go through what's called the match process, and how that works is yearly we open up the application process where students register and create an online application. Once that application is completed and the deadlines are approaching, students will then submit their applications to the internship sites that they're interested in. In order to get matched, you go through what we call an algorithm. So the awesome thing about that is you have sites who are interested in you and vice versa. And once you go through the algorithm process, you are matched with your best option. So let's just say that a site ranks you number 1 and you rank them number 2, but your first site didn't rank you, then you'll match with the initial site. So it's it's a really good opportunity for you to get close to, if not your first choice.
How long does the process take?
Well, this year is a little bit different. We're only going through one match process, but we give students typically 60 days for registration, but registration goes on until the deadline. Then you have about 2 to 3 weeks for submitting your applications, and then after that you have to go through what's the interview process. So sites will contact the students, and they will then go to do the interview like you would if you were applying for a job. About a week or so after that, we have what's the deadline for everyone to submit their rankings.
Is there anything you would want to say to a prospective student?
I would like to let all students know that if you are looking for high quality psychology training, do not look at CAPIC as an alternative. Look at it as an option. It should actually be your first option. Stand for what you believe in. If you want to be local and you want to provide services to your community, go CAPIC.
CAPIC really represents a wonderful opportunity for students that may be non-traditional, but also students that want to be able to serve the local communities that are in their area, in their neighborhood, be able to focus on working with community clinics that serve underserved and underrepresented populations, and be able to offer mental health services to not only individuals but communities at large that may not be able to get the services if those particular interns were not in those locations.
So what's the benefit to you as a student?
The benefit is that you are a part of an organization such as CAPIC that is really socially justice oriented. We are focused on creating really high quality, local, inclusive, and diversity-focused internships and postdoc positions. Of course, that also facilitate really wonderful training opportunities for those interns. But we also are working to develop programs that are in areas, that are in communities, that again serve communities that are diverse and are needing mental health services that normally would not be able to access them. The other element is that what's really important is that by being an intern and being a part of CAPIC, you have a wonderful pathway to licensure that is not just in California, but is also across the country. The supervised professional experience that you earn at CAPIC allows you to be able to be qualified to be able to seek licensure across the country.
What's been your experience with CAPIC?
Yeah. I've known about CAPIC ever since I was a doctoral student myself, and I graduated in 2009, so I have known about CAPIC since 2004. I became a board member in, let's see, I think it was 2011, and really wanted to serve to be able to better represent quality training programs, again, at the local level. And my role was to be the academic, Northern California academic representative. And it was wonderful to be able to meet a group of board members that were extremely like-minded and again, focused on the learning environment and focused on trying to really create programs that would meet the needs of all students in California, and even students that are outside of California that want to train here. And since becoming a board member, I've been able to have the opportunity to be a vice chair for the board, and now I'm currently chair for the board. And even though it's a difficult time right now for CAPIC, we have a shrinking membership, it is a great opportunity to be able to figure out how to adapt CAPIC as an organization, to be able to better serve what our member constituents really need, and to better adapt to what our local training environment is really asking for our students to be able to do.
Why do you think there's a shrinking membership? What's the difference between CAPIC and CAPIC?
Well, the primary difference between CAPIC and APIC is historically CAPIC was, the training programs were only localized in California, whereas APIC and APA, they are national. The training programs are across the country. Now, the training programs in CAPIC still remain true they still are in California. We are having out-of-state members, out-of-state students that are applying to our local internship programs here. So that's kind of the geographic difference. In terms of the membership criteria difference, CAPIC, the membership criteria that CAPIC established is based on APIC membership criteria for internship and postdoctoral training programs, with a few minor tweaks. The first one is that CAPIC, we do require for our sites, all of our internship and postdoctoral member sites, to actually undergo a quality assurance site visit. So not only do we have an initial membership site visit and review, but we have an ongoing quality assurance program. The other difference is that we also embed and require very decisive and intentional multicultural training throughout the internship training program. That is part of our membership criteria. And the last difference is that we do not require stipends. We encourage internship sites to be able to provide stipends for our interns, but we do not require it. We do require it for our postdoc programs.
What have I not asked you to do?
I think one of the items that is really profound regarding CAPIC, and I think that maybe it's something that answers the first questions that you asked me about, why should an intern go to CAPIC, or what is important about CAPIC? And one of those items that I always like to talk about is the fact that we are truly a grassroots organization. And we are a small organization, which means that we are really extremely responsive and we're agile. And so as the training landscape changes, we as a membership organization are able to adapt, and we are able to change based on the needs of our members. And our members include not only our academic programs, our internship programs, our postdoc programs, but also our students, as well as the public that our students are actually serving. So as that landscape changes and training begins to kind of flex and adapt to the healthcare environment modifications, we too as an organization are able to modify and change how we structure ourselves, and then what opportunities we can also provide for our interns in, again, California, our local communities.
So what is your experience with CAPIC done for you professionally and personally?
Well, personally, I like to answer that one first because I really do feel like CAPIC is a family. And it, not only the board, we really enjoy each other. And we get a lot of business done, but we enjoy each other through the getting hard business done. And we work extremely collaboratively. We're a volunteer board, and we all have full-time jobs, but we take time to be able to come together and be able to make some really profound decisions on behalf of CAPIC and to keep CAPIC as an organization thriving and moving on. And again, we do that with the utmost respect, and we respect dissenting opinions, we respect divergent ideas, and we really try to highlight those and be responsive to them. So personally, it's really rewarding to be heard and to have a different opinion and be respected for it. The other component about what has it done professionally for me, well, I'm the liaison for NCSPP as the CAPIC board member, the National Council of Schools and Programs for Professional Psychology. And I'm also the liaison for APIC. So I get to travel to other membership meetings and other conferences and conventions. And it allows me to not only meet other professionals, other folks that are dedicated to education and training, but it really allows me to continue to get the word of CAPIC out nationally, not just locally. One of the things that I think about too, when you asked what is it that I should add or that I felt like I need to add, is that part of my role, I'm the CAPIC chair, but I'm also a director of clinical training, and so I work very closely with students. I'm also a licensed clinical psychologist, and so I'm really committed to the profession. And I am profoundly committed, and this is a social justice cause, to making sure that our profession really represents the public that we serve, which means that we need to increase diversity within our profession. And being able to offer different models of internship programs that are not just half-time, that are also, not just full-time, but are also half-time models of professional training. And that don't necessarily require somebody to uproot their entire life and maybe even their entire family and other responsibilities to move across the country, but they can stay local and serve their local community. By offering those different models of training, offering local training in communities that people feel committed to, I know that will increase the diversity that is within our profession, because then those folks that are interns will then get licensed and they'll be practicing, and they will be able to reflect the communities that they serve in their intersecting identities and their multiple diversity as well. But right now, I think what is extremely important is for CAPIC as an organization to be able to reach out to not only academic programs, I think we do that quite well actually, but to reach out to academic programs that are across the country. So we've been so California-centric and so California-focused, and that is important, that's our origin. But we do want to be able to kind of reach across the states, knowing what we know now, that there is not one state that solely requires an internship to be at an APA accredited internship, to be able to be eligible for licensure. That permits us to then say to other states, other licensing boards, other academic programs, that we are not we are not kind of the backup to APA accredited internships. That we are an absolute viable alternative, and we are a strong foundation and pathway to licensure in multiple states. The other folks that we need to do better at reaching out to are students. We are, as an organization, extremely student-driven, and we have wonderful access to our students at our membership academic programs that are currently CAPIC members. But the reality is that students make their own future, and it is up to them to be able to decide what internship is the best suited for them, professionally, personally. And so being able to provide much more accurate information to students across the country so that they can then take that information to their director of clinical training and to make an informed decision about what is right and what is best suited for them. So as I said, we do a great job reaching out to our members, but we struggle, and I think we need to open up a line of communication to other students that maybe are not at our membership schools. And again, also students that are just across the country.
So I applied to CAPIC internship, specifically CAPIC, because I wanted to stay in California and be close to my family. And also, due to financial restraints, I did not feel comfortable moving across state lines.
And what has your experience been, your internship?
So I'm currently at Highland Hospital in Oakland, California, and I'm in the outpatient psychiatry track. So I'm working with severely and persistently mentally ill clients ranging from 18 to in their 70s, and I love the internship. I would highly recommend it. I work, strictly with psychosis, working with the patients to cope with, their voices, the various delusions, in addition to, being med compliant.
And would you recommend the internship to other folks?
I would highly recommend the internship to other people. If people didn't want to work with the population I want to work with, there's other tracks like health, psych, pediatrics, so there's a whole assortment of different types of populations people could work with.
Okay, thank you.
CAPIC is a membership organization of doctoral academic programs, internship programs, and postdoctoral programs, primarily located in California. They work together to improve the quality of internship training for licensure in California, as well as to serve the communities in California. There's a wide variety of internship experiences people can get at CAPIC. Over half of our internship programs are at community placements, oftentimes county mental health or behavioral health sites. There are half-time internships, 1 year and 2 year. There are full-time internship programs as well. So it's a variety of experiences with a variety of modalities and a variety of populations. Some are not paid. We encourage stipends for all of our interns, but we don't require them. Approximately half of our internships provide stipends, and of course, half do not. CAPIC interns or alumni have a variety of jobs that are open to them. We have a number of our interns and alumni that are supervisors at internship sites, of course, at hospitals, at county mental health sites, DCTs at academic programs, deans at academic programs as well. So there's a large variety of opportunities available for CAPIC interns and alumni. CAPIC internships are available for students from out of state. If your school is APA accredited, then we recognize that you already meet our academic program standards. You just have to review an attestation to show that you know the difference between a CAPIC internship and one from another state, for example.